So it would have been better for her because we would have spared her all of this. But also, I'm afraid the royal family is unique. And in at least some of their cases, they elect to be part of it. Or you can do the Harry thing, which is you go off and you divorce yourself from it. But unfortunately, they are part of the state. And as part of the state, there is a responsibility to be transparent, particularly obviously the most senior and the king in particular. And as I say, I thought some of the commentary around his sad cancer diagnosis was absurd. The idea that somehow he'd done us all a great favour by telling us, I mean, this is the state, this is the king. He's the head of state. For as long as we have a royal family, he'll be the head of state. Surely to goodness, his health and indeed the health of all the senior royals are therefore not just of interest to the public, but part of the public interest. I don't see what's so controversial about that or unusual. I would have thought it was self-evident, but hey, maybe not for the first time I'm missing something. Let's talk to Steve, who's in Thirsk in North Yorkshire. Steve.
Hi, Liz.
Good afternoon.
Just to say, the gentleman on before was saying that everybody wants, or the majority want the royal family. Well, 2 new polls out recently said that that's not the case. Less than half the people wanted it in a
Well, and they've definitely not done themselves any favours over the past 24 hours, have they? Let's be honest.
No, certainly not. And I would say the problem is, and you've kind of said it and hinted at it, was that you've got the problem here is that the monarchy is the royal family. So they put themselves out there, births, deaths, marriages, look at the kids, this is what we're about, this is how they kind of sell themselves to the wider public. And it's merging the public and the private. There is no kind of real clear distinction between the two.
Yes, they're everyone's family. That's the whole point of them. It's like they're the nation's family. So then people are interested.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's what they sell. I mean, I'm not particularly interested in the tittle-tattle. I mean, I don't care, to be honest. I mean, obviously, I wish the King and the Princess of Wales well, as any normal human would.
Of course.
But, I don't really want a running commentary. I mean, I'm a Republican as well. I don't really care. But what this does illustrate to me is the biographer actually hinted at it, was about the other areas of the monarchy that are very secretive. Republic's got a campaign out at the moment about royal secrecy.
Totally.
They're exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. There's all the nonsense in the duchies about Bonaventura and how people die intestate, all their money goes to the duchies. All the nonsense with Andrew, everything. They are a really opaque institution.
And I think, you know what, Steve, that is my, actually, in a way, because like you, I don't really care about the ins and outs of all of this stuff. And obviously, apart from the health, you want anyone to be healthy and so on. But apart from that, I don't really care. But I think that you put your finger on it. The thing that bothers me most about the royal family is 2 things as an institution. One, it's treated differently to many other public institutions, precisely because of its opacity and its secrecy in all sorts of matters, particularly financial affairs. But also there's just this deference endlessly. And that I think is a problem. And as you have hinted at, it manifests itself in all kinds of ways.
It overlaps in the media as well. The very fact that the Royal Rota exists. I mean, I think it was Chris Shipp talking about it earlier, saying that there's one camera and BBC, Sky, and ITV use it. Well, if we live in aren't we supposed to have a free press where everyone could go in and should be able to film it and record it? Because you're at risk of editing things. I mean, they even talked about how the royal family can censor coverage on the BBC of the coronation and various other things. I mean, that's corrupt, isn't it?
Steve, grateful to you. Maureen is in North London, Camden. Maureen.
Yeah, hi.
Good afternoon.
Listening to Steve's comment, he's drawn up a few more issues that I probably agree with. I personally don't care. I mean, I hope and I wish her well, obviously. I don't really care. I believe and I feel strongly that she said she's had abdominal, whoever said, she's had abdominal surgery, she's been in hospital for 2 weeks, and she's coming back after Easter. End of story, that's it. I don't think we need to know anything else. Yesterday, she made a faux pas with her posting of a photograph that she very badly photoshopped. As I've already said, I'm not good at it, but I'm better than that. But possibly, it's ridiculous. But I don't think there's anything sinister involved, because it doesn't, as I've already said, look like she superimposed the images of her children over herself to make it look like they're all together when in fact she's probably off somewhere. I don't think that for a second. And I agree with Steve that, if we're going to have real scrutiny to the point where we want to know everything, what the hell is Andrew doing out there in the public domain representing when the King's unwell?
Well, I think, to be fair, Maureen, I don't think he doesn't. He's been taken away. He's no longer a Council of State, so he no longer does. He's still part of the family, of course, but he doesn't represent the King anymore.
possibly not representing, but for me, when you're being photographed and you're being filmed attending church, and
yes,
it would normally
still on
be
family
Camilla
occasions,
and, him and Fergie are walking in as though it were. So for me, keep him out of the public domain. I'm not interested in seeing anything to do with him. I'm not interested in him at all. But at the same time, I think that, all of this speculation, I just think people need to get on with their own lives. There are far more important issues to be delving into.
Does it
than
make
whether,
you...
Kate's photoshopped a bloody picture.
But
it's ridiculous.
the picture stuff, Maureen, do you think that will it make you less credulous, less believing of royal family stuff, communications, photographs and so on?
No, it just makes it more believable that she's a human being. It's 2024. The kids have got their picture all over the place, and don't tell me that half these people look like that at all. She's erased marks off her hand, doesn't she, off one of them? I've looked at it. I looked at it this morning, and obviously she's smeared or she's merged pics. She's probably had a cannula from having surgery, and she's probably got a bruised hand, as I have, for catching it in the door. But I'd like to Photoshop it out as well. I don't want to show my hand half black and blue. Who would? You've done it poorly, that's all I think. I think it's a shame. Leave her. She's all right. She'll be all right. Let her just relax and recover.
Grateful. All right, Maureen. Grateful to you, Maureen in Camden there. Claire is in a different part of London, in Westminster. Claire.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry, am I missing something here? We've got 15 children dying a day from dehydration and starvation in Gaza. We're praying that the ship leaves from Lanka and gets to the Gazan coast. We've had a racist, in my opinion, leave the Tory party and go to his real home.
Well, we're going to be talking about that after 5 o'clock.
Okay, and we're talking about some royal who's doctored her pictures to make her look good. If it's a problem being a royal... If this billionaire family has a problem with a lack of privacy, give the 350 million back and go and live on the Isle of Capri. Nobody's forcing you to do a job which is not a job. She has married into a family. She knew what the score was. And now she's got to face the reality. I personally couldn't care less if she turned herself into Marilyn Monroe in one of her pictures. But the fact is, people seem to think they have a right to know. Why? What is the interest when there's so many grave and important things going on in the world? And as I say, if it's a problem, you get 350 million a year of this billionaire family, give it to children so they can have school meals every day in state schools, or give it to refugees. Do something.
There are lots of. I mean,
country.
Claire, I sort of I sort of agree with you in it to a lesser or greater extent. I think we would have to accept, though, of course, that there are many millions of people, particularly in this country, but around the world, who are extremely interested in every aspect of...
because they're fed this dribble 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Oh, they might just be interested, Claire, to be fair. It's a bit unfair to them. They're intelligent human beings, just like you and me. I'm sure they can make up their own mind what they're interested in. It's not they're being fed. They're interested. They're genuinely interested.
We've been told our democracy will collapse without the Windsors. We've been told everything will go to pot without the Windsors. We've been told that we will get Boris Johnson if we don't have the Windsors.
We had him already.
It's 21st century. We should not decide people's life when they're amoebas, which is what we do with the king. We say, you're the first one, you were born, you're number one, and God help you if you walk away. We will make your life a misery, a la Harry. But if we're going to have this family, then we're just going to have to lump it, and they're going to have to suck it up. And silly, amateurishly doctored pictures to make her look better, or as that lady said, improve her hands. I can't describe how I just don't care.
You still rang
up.
Your
money and enjoy your life.
All right, Claire in Westminster. I'm very intrigued by all of these people who really don't care about this at all, but are motivated nonetheless to phone 0345 6060 973 and come and talk to me about it. But there you go. That is, although as Claire was saying there, that is in a way. People have been saying, "Oh, Lewis, you're a Republican." I probably am if you forced me to choose. And the main reason, actually, is not... I can sort of see constitutional monarchy kind of works, like it can work fine. I actually think the strongest argument for republicanism is not really even about the country. It's about them. It's about them as individuals. And you've seen this play out with Harry, which is actually, I think probably, it is just too much to ask of anyone to have their life dissected and so much, and the kind of absolute pressure and the onus on these people in this way. It basically ruins people. Most of the people who end up in the family in some way are ruined. And I think that I don't see that ever changing. I just think that is the culture around the British monarchy. We're never going to be like the Scandinavian monarchy, nor very simple and low-key. It's always going to be like that. I basically think it's kind of degradation of their human rights, really. Also, I'm very intrigued. One other subplot today, which I find absolutely intriguing, and I suppose to some extent we heard it from Tom Bow at the top of the show, is the number of royal journalists or biographers or courtiers who basically spend their whole lives, at least to some extent, intruding on the royal family's privacy, and indeed often make their livings from it, basically telling other journalists or other people, including political journalists, that actually these people have got a tremendous right to privacy and we should butt out. I mean, these are the people who spend their whole lives almost sort of slightly leech-like, sort of parasitically attached to the vessel, the good ship royal family. I find it a little bit extraordinary. But again, perhaps I'm missing something here. Who knows? We're going to talk about that NIMBY story in a minute, which is really fascinating. But first, let's talk to Steph in Kidderminster. Steph.
Hello, Lewis.
Good evening. Oh, afternoon. I keep saying evening. I keep thinking it's later because I normally do 6 on a Friday at LBC. So I'm just assuming suddenly I've missed the whole week and it's the weekend, but it's not quite. Steph.
No, I know. So it's a little odd, isn't it? Yeah, I would agree with you completely what you just said there about those the royal archivists and people who seem to be telling everyone that they should mind their own business on this matter, when they don't really want to give Harry or Meghan the same when they chose what they wanted to choose. And what I was calling about today was the fact that this photo malarkey has caused such a stir. And I was listening to Sheila earlier on and she was saying, it's just a picture. And in my head I was thinking, could you imagine if this was Meghan and her children, and then it turned out that there had been some touches to the photo? I think that Piers Morgan's head would explode, for one. And I think some areas
you'd be able to hear
Twitter,
it from wherever you were.
Oh, well, exactly. There would be areas of Twitter or X, or whatever you want to call it, would completely implode. There's people who just literally spend every waking moment completely and utterly down.
So true.
Horrible to those two people who just have decided to step away. But of course, everything they do is completely against the royal family. And listening to some of the way that those people talk about them when they are invited on TV, and it's like, but yet they expect to sort of give the grace to Kate and William, and it's like
one or the other, isn't it? Really?
Yes, exactly.
Some
and
a bit
I
of
do
consistency.
agree that it would be best if Kate would, if they were a little bit more. If they did clarify a little bit more what exactly has gone on, because there's an awful lot of information I think
I just hate this tone, Steph. I just hate the tone. It's all a bit like, why don't you get back in your box? What's it got to do with you? Well, I suppose, if you've got a royal family, it's got something to do with everybody.
Exactly. And if they maybe shared a little, like the King has done, it's been a massive thing for men to know about prostate cancer. It's brilliant. And maybe if she shared what had gone on with her,
but in a way,
would probably help an awful lot of women as well.
In a way, my sort of objection with this is not with her. I think I can totally understand. Look, whatever the problem is, I can totally understand why she might want to have privacy, and she's being advised one way or the other, whatever. My objection more is like the culture around it, and we say hearing from people who, spend half their lives basically being sort of parasitic off the royal family in one form or another, then turning around to everybody else and saying, no, we'll tell you when you get the right to sort of know what's going on, but it has to be through us or through the royal family. Can't work that way.
We're the only ones allowed to know.
Yes, exactly.
You're not allowed to know unless we know.
Exactly right. Yeah, it does my head in. Steph in Kidderminster. Thank you so much.